I think it is time for NXT to take over.
Suplex City, bitch.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
I told my father I'm gonna set up my own lucha league in America, and I'm gonna make it the best league in the world.
I'm gonna leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk More Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast where on these extras we normally talk about pay-per-views 99% of the time. So what do you think we're doing today? We'll talk about pay-per-views.
It's pay-per-view time.
Pay-per-view time. My name is Turbo Tony. I'm here with Matt Marsander. How are you doing, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
It was another thing safe to say that was quite a surprising pay-per-view.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to go through it there today.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, I'd like to say this as a prefix to all of our pay-per-view review shows. We take our pay-per-view reviews a lot much more laid back than we do the normal episodes that we do on a weekly basis. But it's great. We've got loads of really good feedback from the changes that we made from the show last time, and new intros and everything like that. So. Yeah, it's been an eventful week. Myself, you and me are going to be busy for the next month, I'd say, when it comes to...
Yeah, it's all starting off now.
That's it. Tomorrow night is when NXT airs, so we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. But that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about Payback, which happened Sunday night, or Monday morning. Obviously, over here in the European area, it's during that time. As you alluded to there, Matt, it was thankfully it seems to be a little bit of a common trend at the moment with WWE. It seems to be that they will give out a pretty lackluster card and give us at least some good action on the road.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna bitch about it. That's fine with me. But there are a few problems with the build-up, and obviously the card not being as good, and we're going to bring that up as we go along.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Matt, I said something. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was in the last episode, but I said something along the lines of, this is like the first event that I can remember that took place before an NXT special, and so I think that maybe the quality of this event was factored into because we've heard lots of reports of the main roster getting their backs up over being basically shown
Yeah, and sort of just like, oh no, we can't let the NXT lot outdo us this time. It's like, well, you're leading the charge, so
yeah, they need a good showing, didn't they? Really?
Oh yeah.
So there's plenty of matches on this card. And I would arguably say that even though this is a good example for me, that a show doesn't need to be packed full of mindless stipulations to be good, like Extreme Rules. I wasn't that happy with Extreme Rules. I thought it was okay, but it was really forgettable, which was one of its main problems. And one of the big things that you said about it, Matt, all the way through, you were adamant about it, is that half of this stuff just doesn't need a stipulation. It's just jammed in there for no reason.
Just to make up, yeah.
Yeah, and then as we said, the best match on that show was one of the only matches that didn't have a stipulation, which was the tag team title match. So, anyway, let's talk into this show. I just wanted to bring that up because it's kind of a theme that we may end up talking about in terms of the quality of this show. And like I said, you don't have to jam in stipulations.
Yeah, and then the odd thing is probably one of the best matches on this event was one with a stipulation.
Yeah, it's all about how it's used, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, with WWE, it's like if they build up to it along those lines, it's just the storyline has to back it, and we found that obviously a lot of the time, especially with stuff like Hell in the Cell, and all this sort of stuff, they'll just cram these matches in there for no reason, and that was what I felt was the problem with Extreme Rules. Let's talk about the pre-show matches. Did you watch the pre-show?
No, I didn't catch the pre-show this time around.
I didn't either. To be honest, with the lineup, I wasn't that enthused about watching the pre-show.
Nah.
Especially as the first match on the pre-show was R-Truth versus Stardust. R-Truth got the win. I don't really care. I didn't watch it.
Really?
I
wasn't even aware that match was a thing.
Yeah, apparently so. The one thing I would say is that, like, to me, I mean, considering this is like I think a rematch of one they did on Raw, this is not even a pre-show worthy match, in my opinion. So it's not as if I'm going to lose any sort of sleep over missing this match at all. Are you under the same sort of feelings about that? Or?
Yeah, I sort of just didn't really care for it at all. It's just like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yeah. It's like I said, it doesn't really matter, and I think that's a shame because with R-Truth, he's kind of burnt his bridges with me with his promos recently. But I mean, I'm always a big fan of Cody and Stardust and everything like this. So let's hope that something comes of where he goes from here on out. It just seems unfortunately that he gets a good push when he gets a new gimmick, and then after a while it
just fades out.
Fizzles out. The Meta Powers versus the Detention, as they've like to been called now during the podcast. I got the message. It's the Detention. Okay.
Good. You now understand.
I know. Yes, exactly. I imagine you're there, with your hands just pursed.
Excellent.
Didn't see this match either, but as I said, I wasn't that particularly bothered. They did show clips of this match during the show, though, so we got to see, at the very least, the entrance of the Meta Powers, who are now being called the Mega Powers, which is a bit odd, and the Detention basically beating them. I tell you what, I've seen this now. I gave it a little bit of time. Maybe I need to give it a bit more, but I just don't like this. The Mega Power stuff just doesn't hit. This is going to be like Marmite to people. Some people will like it, some people won't. I'm one of those people who don't. So, and like one of the things I will say though is that while I don't like the idea, I have major props for Axl and Sandow for at least diving headfirst into.
Like they're proper going at it.
Yeah, they're not half-assing it.
No.
Is something that would be horrific. To make it.
I guess they can't afford to half-ass it. Worst part is, maybe not so much for Sandow, considering he's reinvented himself in the eyes of the crowd. But then we talked about this on the last episode that I'm not happy with this. But especially for Curtis Axel, this is his sort of saving grace, really.
Yeah. At the end of the day, a strong argument could be stated for the fact of that if they weren't doing this, and we said this before, if they weren't doing this, they probably wouldn't have a place on the roster. Yeah. I just think that's a real shame. You could have done this storyline where Sandow has never really been himself since he's been in WWE, and then finally now he can be.
Yeah, to start with, he was this contradicting arsehole, and then it sort of fades off, and turns out he's actually an alright individual.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? All this time he's been almost acting like other people, and okay, fair enough. But now it's time to really get behind a genuine Damien Sandow. And it doesn't seem as if they were confident that could work. I'm fully sure that's a guy I could get behind, a genuine guy. Part of the reason why people like Daniel Bryan is because you look at the guy and you think he's a genuine guy, and you wanna support him and his career. But still, it's Vince. Vince is way more about this than he is doing, the...
The worst part is it almost just hey, remember when wrestling was relevant?
Yeah.
I remember that too. It's like a Pepperidge Farm advert.
Which is Vince just rocking backwards and forwards, remembering the good old days and just...
That's it.
I just the way I look at this, the Meta Powers, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, of course, because it's a pre-show match we didn't even watch.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, though, is it's just a massive indictment that we couldn't create better characters than we had 20, 30 years ago, so we're just going to rehash them. That's the way it seems to me.
Yeah.
But, that's the bottom line of it. The Ascension got the win in this match anyway. I don't really care. I don't think it goes anywhere. Both of these teams will be in the Elimination Chamber tag team title match, so there's something to be had there at least. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter.
There's not really anything to be had there, because what do they achieve? Nothing.
That's it. And just for the record, myself and Matt did get this one wrong, the prediction. It was, however, the only wrong prediction we had on the show, which means on the main card, myself and Matt were completely 100% correct.
Flawless.
And that's not entirely a good thing. Because...
Hello, predictability.
Yeah, that's the main thing. When we talk about the show as a whole later on, I do think the predictability of the event, the fact that it didn't have enough storyline curveballs really to throw to us, did damage it a little bit, but... We're talking from there. Show opener though, Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler. And I know I apologise to one of our fans. Yeah, I've ruined his Sheamus' entrance for him. I actually really like his entrance, but now I just can't get it out of my head. It's there.
It's good, but he has just come.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost too good, shall we say. He's enjoying that entrance a bit too much, shall we say. I thought this was an excellent example of how you open up any show, let alone a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I thought it was everything it needed to be. It was quick. The pace of the match at the very beginning was very quick, which is good. That's what you want from your curtain jerker. So good physicality, some close calls, kickouts. Yeah, no, I like this match a lot.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out though. I was just like, where did he get busted?
Well, it was the headbutt spot, wasn't it? He headbutted him, and then he ended up splitting himself open because
he got a crimson mask that like Flair would be jealous of.
Yeah. For me,
just suddenly out of nowhere, it's like, gee. You notice like the camera is just like, no, the furthest possible shot of Ziggler's back, not running any risks.
Yeah. Well, like you say that about Ric Flair, like friends, like to just on Ziggler's side of the whole thing, he headbutted Sheamus' head, right? And Sheamus, you can look at the guy and say that guy's probably got a hefty noggin right there, right?
Yeah.
A breeze could come across Ric Flair and he could get split open. So there's defend Ziggler at very least on that front. But he was split open bad, as you said, Matt. He was caked in it towards the end of this show. So I imagine. I know they showed like a picture of him being treated afterwards, and it did look a nasty gash.
Pretty deep, yeah.
As they say, it ain't ballet. This stuff does happen, and he legitimately headbutted Sheamus and came out worse for it. Ziggler got the payback of the show, and yes, pun was intended with that. He did manage to rub his arse in Sheamus's face, so
yeah.
But
at the end of it all, he lost the match.
And I did have to fight the urge to play back my prediction when they said Sheamus will win, but Ziggler will probably get his own back in the arse kissing department.
Yeah.
It literally played that exactly the way that I thought it would. So, yeah, Sheamus gets the win, and it looks like these two aren't going to be dealing with each other much as they go forward, which is fine with me. I'm fine with it being here. But it was a good match, and
strong opening match, yeah.
Strong opening match, yeah. The one thing that is a little bit weird, though, is that Sheamus is already being advertised as being the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
After the Chamber, so I hope that is just a miscalculation, because having a spoiler that further on in a match I'd be very interested in watching is a bit crap, to be honest, but we'll see that as the news goes forward. But it wouldn't be the first time that WWE has leaked something, and it also wouldn't be the first time that places have advertised things that have changed, so I'll look into that more when, if it's like a week before the show and he's still being advertised as the champion, then you can...
Yeah, maybe you just have to accept that it's been spoiled for us.
Yeah, that's it. New Day versus Kid and Cesaro. Now, 2 out of 3 falls match, and these guys stole the show at Extreme Rules. They had the best match on the show. Absolutely, I don't think anyone can really argue with that, I think, to be honest. You and me gave it our match of the night anyway, so...
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to talk about ourselves. Another great match by these guys. They're kicking ass. And the New Day heel turn, man, it's very, very entertaining. And like I said, back when they were the face and they were doing their thing, it was almost painful to watch. And it's like, they literally, all they had to do was flick the switch. Now everything's just clicked, it's working, and they're delivering high caliber matches as well. So... yeah, like
could work.
I'm now a New Day fan in terms of the entertainment they give to me, and I thought I'd never say that again, at all, really. So
no, it's shocking considering it's just like, do you know what the one thing I'm most confused about?
Go on.
You're liking something involving Kofi Kingston.
I am. I think he's doing great.
But it's hard not to, because I'm with you though. I'm really enjoying this New Day stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it's just because they're playing it so well. Yeah. It's just like, we're being positive. We're the best. It's like, you cheated. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
No, we're the best. New Day.
Xavier Woods is the best in that role, though, I have to say, because he's just got that face.
Such a great hype guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all of them are doing a great job, I have to say. But some people do say I'm very harsh on Kingston. He's now doing stuff that I'm interested in watching, and as long as that's the case, I can't say a bad word about the guy. So,
but would you go as far to say this was match of the night? This one?
Very, very fucking close.
Yeah.
It is hard, much harder to call this than it was last pay-per-view. Last pay-per-view was very easy for me. I think this one was the New Day Cesaro Kid match was far beyond anything else that was on that show. This one had a bit of competition.
Yeah.
Cesaro proved that he's human. He failed to pick up Big E at one point, and I actually have the reason why. Would you like to hear it?
Go on.
Well, actually, the planets converged in such a way that a shimmer of light from Krypton fell upon Cesaro just as he held up Big E. So literally, he was sapped of his
almost
power.
Blinded a little bit.
Yeah, he was sapped of his power, but ordinarily, Cesaro would be able to do that, of course.
Yeah.
So, of course.
If anything, I quite like the fact that it's like, and the crowd, there was no sort of like you fucked up or anything like that.
Yeah, that'd be so harsh, wouldn't it?
Like, you're trying to lift. He's trying to lift a 300-pound guy.
Yeah. I think he's more than proved that he can do stuff that, like, it's fair enough. Like for instance, there was something to be said like, oh, you fucked up like a move, right? Like a very simple move or done to the ring, or even Tyson Kidd doing a springboard. I know that's something quite hard to do, but like I could probably jump on ropes if my leg was fine. But like picking up like a 300-pound guy and flinging him across my head, I'd never be able to do that. So I'm not going to call someone up here. Look at you fucked up. I'll be like, well, I couldn't do any better at all. I wouldn't be able to fucking lift him off the ground. Yeah. So there's something to be said for that.
I couldn't do any better. Bravo, valiant effort.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, cool. Fair play. You got him up. But we all know Cesaro could probably do it. It's just not on this occasion. The Kid and Cesaro get the first win, first fall, sorry, and then New Day get the second. And then just when things are getting a little bit crazy towards the end, Xavier Woods, he wasn't in the match, it was actually Big E and Kofi wrestling, but Xavier Woods comes in, referee doesn't know it's him because he doesn't know.
I loved it. I thought it was really smart.
Yeah,
so just took the jacket off, and as from like how the ref could see it, it's just like I don't know whether it's a little bit racist, but it's like black guy in trousers must be Kofi.
Yeah. I have to admit, right, and I don't want this to sound really bad, but to be honest, if I saw the pair of them in that situation, I probably wouldn't know it was different. I know the joke is around that, this referee thinks all black people look the same, but I could get it, you know, from the back. They have kind of similar hair, and as you say, they got the... I could buy it. I bought this finish, and to be honest, the match was excellent, that I wasn't like, oh, that crap, like... Having a great match blurs the lines of like how much we can really dig on the finish. If it's if it's horrible, like horrendous, then maybe. But no, I'd buy this. That's okay, to be honest with me. Because Kid and Cesaro are doing great work. I wouldn't want them to just lose clean again. You know.
Yeah, and if anything, it carries on with them, with how they're going around the whole thing.
Yeah.
It carries on so strongly.
You know that even in the Elimination Chamber, I don't think they're going to have all three people in there, but there will be a part involving one of them, you know. Go on.
I love that. It's like, how? We're not even going to fit.
Yeah, could you imagine just like...
It's when it's like later on in the night when they're having that interview, and it's just like, how are we going to fit in there? This is ridiculous. It's like,
I can imagine it's the only person that's going to be okay in that is Big E, and you got the others who just squished up against like the fucking door, and just like...
It's like Big E just stood there, it's like, I don't know what you got a problem with.
Yeah.
It's like, just like pressed up against the glass.
That's it. Getting acquainted with Big E's physique, shall we say? Along those lines. But yeah, in terms of these guys have been ripping it up. Good stuff by Kid. And you know what Kid and Cesaro can do. It's been proven. I'm more impressed by the New Day because we kind of didn't know what they had in them. And the heel turn has just made everything click. So, fair play. I can't say this match, as I said, is a contender for match of the night again. And that's just good news for all five of these guys if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about at the end which one you do think is... Because I think it's between two. I'm pretty sure it's against two. Yeah, for me it's against two, so we'll see towards the end. Bray Wyatt versus Ryback. This match was not nearly as good as the other ones on the show, in my opinion. At times, I thought this match was quite boring. I don't know about you, Matt.
I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. It was just like, he clearly busted a rib.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's sort of like, but he can still go pretty well, actually. Like, he sort of soldiered on really well.
Yeah, he got his rib broken during a spot where Bray Wyatt sent on off the apron onto the floor, at the outside.
Yeah.
And it did legit break Ryback's rib, as far as we know, or at very least bruised it or damaged it in some way. But as you say that, Matt, he continued to do the rest of the match, and you have to say fair play to anyone in that situation,
especially considering he did a splash.
Yeah. I mean,
Ryback went to the top rope. The fuck, that's unheard of to begin with. But the fact that it's sort of like obviously, at that point we didn't know for certain, but you're pretty much like, he's got a busted rib.
Yeah, and
he's gone to the top rope.
Yeah, and that takes some balls at the end of the day. Like a lot of people. I mean, to be honest, any professional there in the situation would do that. But I mean, that's a lot of pain that you have to go through and do that. And you have to give them props for being in that situation.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the only person in the world that was happy with that rib being broken, some person probably thought it was just desserts. He's about to go and fight for UFC, so you can imagine who he is. He probably thinks, well,
being a little petty about the whole thing.
Turnabout is fair play, prick. That's probably what he said to his television, if he was watching at all, of course. No, I tell you what, I didn't feel that much about this match at all. Even with Ryback, I had to give him props. No, I couldn't get that involved into this at all. Maybe it was just the quality of the match that preceded it, maybe along those lines, and then you got a match which I didn't think.
I will admit, it did start. I did feel myself like at the big start of the match. I was just like, meh. Yeah. But then I thought he slowly sort of fed into it.
Yeah. Well, Wyatt gets the win. Sister Abigail finishes off Ryback, and broken rib and all, goes from there. But the problem is with this, as I said before, it's a very inconsequential match. Nothing's really going to change. Bray Wyatt will continue doing his thing. Ryback will continue to do his thing. That's the problem with Ryback, not Ryback, Wyatt at the moment. Is that
well, we don't know if this is going to lead on to anything else, really.
Yeah, it's not as if, I don't think he's going to be cutting promos saying, oh, I slayed him and he's broken man. He didn't seem that broken to me, so...
Yeah.
It's tough, right, because I see a way that Wyatt could be booked, and he's just a million miles away from that. But, I have to say, Wyatt, for a character that I love, just ain't doing anything for me recently. That's a fucking shame, to be honest, but... That's the bottom line, because creative said so. Moving on. John Cena versus Rusev. Rusev has lost his title. He's lost his undefeated streak. And now he's lost his woman. And some may say his manhood. Hashtag things Rusev has lost. Yeah. Maybe we can get that started. What else?
He's lost his medal, actually.
Yeah, he lost his medal, yeah. Apparently that was the news that was going around. If there's going to be a picture of Rusev losing his keys to his car, maybe, or something, that's just going to be going everywhere. Rusev loses everything, including his personal effects, and stuff like that. So, yeah, you're probably getting at what we're going here. We said that the worst way this can happen is Rusev loses, and he loses, well, clean, essentially, if you look at it in that space of time.
Well, to be fair, there's no way you can't lose clean in an I Quit match.
Yeah, to a point. But the thing is, the worst way you can also lose is by having a way that Lana plays into the finish against him for whatever reason. All of that happened, right? So, as we know of now, because it's been split, literally, WWE went fucking mental last night, putting loads of shit over my Facebook, so I saw everything what happened on Raw. Lana ain't going to be with the guy any longer. The split is done. So there is no Rusev and Lana anymore. So it does pose the fact now that this next month, these next 4 weeks, do pose a very serious examination of how far WWE wants to take Rusev now. Essentially, he's done his job.
Yeah.
Which is lose to Cena 3 months in a row. If they do nothing with him, That is very damning for the guy, and I would be very worried that you're literally going to spend the rest of your career in nothing but mid-card and to be forgotten. This won't be the last 3 matches Rusev loses at all. He will start losing matches on TV. He's going to be losing more pay-per-view matches. Yeah. What I'm trying to get at is that he's going to have the bad year Bray Wyatt had after facing Cena. He's going to have the exact same thing.
I can't know. I'm just hoping that that's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, he can still come back and just win on Raw. I guess we'll just have to...
But what do you think is going to happen long term? What is the rest of 2015 going to be like for Rusev? I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a horror show. Personally.
Yeah, it's not going to go strong.
Yeah, you can't really say much against it, can you, really? I know you want to. I want to as well. But it's so hard to say, well, I think Rusev, they could do this with Rusev, because we've already seen it happen. They'll probably end up rebooting him at the end of the year, just like they did with Wyatt, except now the gloss is gone, nothing really matters with the guy, and then we're stuck in this loophole with the guy where he used to be something interesting, and now he's not. So... yeah, it is a shame. Anyway, let's talk about the match itself. Some good spots here and there. The one thing I dislike about I Quit matches is that it's basically a tempo killer.
Yeah.
It's literally, I do one big spot to you, you ask him if he quits. Oh, he reverses, does a big spot on me. I get asked if I quit.
Oh, you ask him to, like, I've got this set up. Do you want to go through it? Yeah. Ask him if he wants to go through it. I can like I Quit matches. I've seen some very good I Quit matches. But I spent a lot of this match sort of thinking to myself, like, Rusev looks really weak.
Yeah, well...
like, some of the faces that guy was pulling, I was just like, really? You're meant
down
to be a monster.
Crying at times,
and you're, like, screaming. Yeah. Like, being, like, a bitch about it.
Yeah.
It's like, he hit me with a laptop. It's like, Jesus. There's probably girls in the crowd who scream, like, manlier than Rusev.
It was like when he got hit with the back with the laptop. I'm like, it's a laptop. It can't be that bad, across the flat of your back. And yet he's screaming as if like he's giving birth to a child through his penis. That sort of pain.
Yeah.
It's just that's an analogy I really don't want to use right there. That was a bit grisly. No, I get you. I to be honest though, I look at this match a little bit more favourably because I appreciate what the guys were trying to do, and they did a lot. Right, took a bit of punishment, but the flow of the match itself and the way things ended up, it was okay. I don't think it was anything great. I thought it was okay, but the implications of the match will live a lot longer than the match.
It served its purpose.
Yeah, essentially. There's a few spots here. Apparently, Rusev saw the fireworks and thought, okay, I'm going to blow up John Cena, which he ends up getting attacked by the fireworks himself. But
yeah,
and everyone treats it like it's a big thing, but then Rusev's completely fine afterwards. So I don't know what they were trying to go for there. But there was some table spots. You've got the steel grating that was used as well, and then the rope itself, which wrapped around Rusev's face, which gave us a lovely visual. And then the match ends. The match ends with him screaming out stuff in Bulgarian, in which case Lana shouts, "He's actually saying I quit." So the referee calls it, and that's how the match ends. All the while, like in this match, Lana's just being normal, to be honest. She's kind of smiling whenever Rusev gets the upper hand and very scared whenever Rusev's being damaged. But like I said, all that's going to change. We know it's going to change, so that's the bottom line.
Like she cares.
That's it.
Sort of now. It's like, really? Nah.
4 matches then between John Cena. So he's been wrestling John Cena for 4 months. He won the first one, which was great, but arguably he's lost 3 in a row, and it's been extremely damaging, and he's lost something every single time. First match, he lost his title and his undefeated streak. Second match, he had a bit of a shit match and everything along those lines. Now he's lost his manager, which arguably is one of the biggest parts of his act.
Yeah.
It's very worrying, guys. I don't think people are taking this as seriously. It's very worrying for Rusev because he's losing every part. It's almost like they're stripping apart all the things that really did make him stand out.
It's like, what works for Rusev?
Yeah.
Okay, get rid of it.
And I think, personally, a lot of people may disagree with this. I think he's proved that he deserves a little bit better than that. I think he deserves a little bit of love by the creative and give him something, because I think he's done as good as he can do throughout all this, to be honest. So,
oh, yeah.
there is that. But John Cena, yeah, he's going to go on. He's going to have more US title matches. And yeah, I won't give spoilers now on this show, but I know what title match he's having at Elimination Chamber, and I'm far more interested in that than I was these series of matches. So
Yeah.
that's the bottom line of it. Naomi and Tamina versus the Bella Twins.
What I'd like to call the match that I zoned out in.
Yeah, and I would like to call it the match I zoned out in. So, fair enough. You and me got the same thing. I'm with you, Matt. I couldn't care that much at all about this particular match. It reminded me a little bit of the randomness that was the WrestleMania tag match.
The Diva matches of old.
It's not so much that. I mean, at least they got some time, to do their stuff. I just wasn't that interested. I'm interested in seeing the Naomi-Nikki title rematch, which I think Naomi will win, but this is just all building up to that. So there wasn't that much great wrestling to be seen, to be honest. Would you agree with that, with this match?
Yeah.
As much as there's talent in the ring. But...
I think it's a solid enough statement. I was just sort of like, yeah. Is it still going on?
It's one of those things that it's not so much like, you're not going to be happy if it ends, but you're not exactly wishing for more. It's just the air of indifference, which sometimes is even worse.
No, I was happy to see it end.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, so it can move on to greener pastures, shall we?
Yeah.
No, I'm the same. I do think, though, that the next pay-per-view will lead to Naomi winning the Divas belt, because Nikki's had it for a very healthy period of time. It's time.
She's had a good title run, yeah.
Yeah. So now is the time for her to pass that on, or
she needs to lose it.
Paige will be returning at some point, so. Whether or not so whether or not that will play into it along those lines, but I do firmly believe that I think Naomi will be a good Divas champion for a while, so I think she's the next logical step.
I think it's about time we actually had a heel champion that was actually acting like a heel rather than just like a sorority bitch.
It could be that. I mean, it's so funny how the Bellas have just like molded into being kind of the de facto faces in this whole rivalry, and everyone's kind of forgot. Even commentary are like, oh, they're just, she's been, great Divas champion. It's like 2 months ago you were blasting over how much of a bitch she was being. Like, yeah, it's just funny that that Bellas haven't done anything different.
It's just like, I guess they're going on the whole sort of like the better of two evils sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, you're not as bad as that one, but you're still pretty bad.
Yeah, and Naomi is being she's the best female heel on the roster, and the thing is that sounds really, really good. But to be honest, she doesn't have that much competition. Really? Come on, guys. Does she have any competition in that? No. So. No,
especially considering she's now, like, sided herself with Tamina.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, okay. It's just like, I don't know, maybe Tamina could have been, oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things at the end of the day. But
yeah, I think if anything, like, Nikki needs to lose the title soon. Otherwise, it's just really going to carry on with the fact, like, maybe it's just because she's boning Cena.
No, I've never thought that.
It's like she's letting Cena plow her, so it's just sort of like, yay! I now have some weight in the company because, like, Cena can just go, hey, Vince.
Nah,
it's a good champion.
I see. I'm one of those people as well. When people say, "Oh, Triple H only got all those title wins because he was with Steph."
Oh no, yeah,
he would have been champion without it.
Completely, yeah.
And people don't seem to.
It's like, it's so true. Like, with that, like, to earn it rather than just to screw for it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that he was champion before he got involved with Steph. Like, so he was already there. He was already at the precipice of that. Yeah, maybe that made things a bit more healthier for him, but I'd argue it was a much, much further of a risk than it was a reward at that early stage of his career, which was becoming a big star. So, no, I wouldn't say early stage of his career, but the early stage of his rise to stardom, shall we say, along those lines. So, but anyway, moving on from that talking point, shall we say? Yeah, that's where Divas title is involved. But this match. This is reason why people use Divas matches as piss breaks, and this didn't really help that fact on that. So.
Yeah.
Neville versus Barrett. Now, one thing I very much disagreed with this is Barrett just happily letting this go to a count out. So,
yep.
Just counted out. Not really much of a match if at all in this. The one thing I would say for Neville though is that he does turn around. Barrett comes and try and attack him afterwards, and Neville even German suplexes him, and in the process of doing so, snaps his Barrett's cane or rod.
Snaps his neck. Jesus,
it was a hefty. It was a badass looking German, shall we say? Deadlift is good. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I thought it would be much better just to give Neville the win. Just a fresh win. I don't think it would have been too much of a problem.
I think they're just trying to protect, we can't have the king of the ring losing. But then I've been reading reports of rumors everywhere. It's just sort of how they're almost protecting Neville.
Yes,
they don't want him to fail, but they currently don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, it's that he's caught in a sort of limbo at the moment.
Yeah.
I would argue that he's one of those guys that could benefit with the IC title.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason why he he didn't lose clean to Cena on Raw.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Listen, Cena's defended a lot, right? And I disagree sometimes with it being done. But with new guys, they need to be protected for at least the very start. At least give them a chance of being portrayed as a star, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with Neville being protected to a certain degree. And let's face it, right? Let's look at this at this point. It could be a lot worse for Neville at this point, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, but he has lost a lot of matches." Yeah, he's won a few as well, so it could be a lot worse for the guy. He's at least being portrayed and been given time each week. So.
But even though when he's been losing, it's not like he's been losing and not putting on a good show.
Yeah, he's not being squashed.
That's it.
So there is that. The one thing I would say though about Barrett is that I'm finding it hard to agree with anything that's to do with Barrett. This walkout with the count out, I wasn't a big fan of, obviously, and then him being king. Everyone knows my thoughts on that. Jesus, I think I've got my voice out in terms of that. There's not much at the moment with Barrett that I can look at and be like, okay, that's kind of going well for you. At the moment, I'm like, ugh, God, it's this. You're the king now.
Yeah. It was that moment where it's just presented the crown and he came out on Raw. I was like, they did it.
Yeah. They actually did it.
Goddamn did it.
It's like I felt like holding my hands out to the sky and just being like, "You did it! You actually did it!" Just being all traumatic. But
proper sort of Planet of the Apes. Damn yous! Damn yous all the hell!
And there's just a statue of Barrett as the king,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I can imagine the song
that
doing
dude's went off weirdly.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a bit crap as well when they sometimes do these at pay-per-views when they've advertised the match and it ends like this. I think it is a bit crappy, but the argument can be made is that it was a free month on the network, but I still paid my money, so really, I wasn't 3 months for me.
Wasn't free for me.
Yeah. Anyway, moving forward from that, from an actual match, the main event: Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Randy Orton. And one thing I will say about the participants in this match, with all due respect to Orton, because he is a great competitor, he's phenomenal wrestler. This match belonged to Rollins, Ambrose.
This match belonged to the Shield.
It belonged to the Shield guys. Yeah, absolutely. Orton did his bit, but every moment that was worth remembering in this match belonged to those three guys, and I think that's really good. I think that's very good.
Especially to sort of, I don't want to use the term that they showed him up, but
they pretty
much did.
Yeah, I would state that this was out of all three of the Shield guys, the one guy that I think, if you would have taken him out of this match, which was the initial idea for the match, I don't think it would have been nearly as good, and that's Dean Ambrose.
Yeah,
I think Ambrose makes a lot of this match work. And this match
that was one thing that I quite liked that commentary were really hot on, is just sort of he's got nothing to lose sort of thing. He wasn't even meant to be, so he can go all out sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's I really liked that.
I mean, the one thing I like is that I always thought that Ambrose was better than being involved with the IC title picture. I thought this guy had a chance of being main event caliber, right? And he's now had a few opportunities back to back where he's been able to show, I can be main event caliber. And I can be a big star, and I can fly the flag if need be. And he definitely showed. He didn't put a foot wrong in this match. In fact, I thought he excelled, and he's been making a habit of that. So it's been good to see him, instead of being involved in like the IC title Elimination Chamber, which I've got no problem, with that. It's good to see him, however, being involved in the World Championship picture. I think that's good.
Yeah.
So, a few good spots in this match, or quite a few, but the one talking point where everyone was talking about was the awesome triple powerbomb spot. The Shield reunited for all of maybe 10 seconds.
Like, if it wasn't just for the fact that, like, they did the triple powerbomb, awesome. Like, everyone was like, oh no, maybe this could be like the reintroduction of the Shield. It's like, no, but we will see a triple powerbomb.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just that bit afterwards where Rollins is like, yeah, fists out, guys. Like, yeah, this is really cool. Wait a minute. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah. It was kind of cool because, like,
stick it through a table.
all of them were really happy that they managed to triple powerbomb Orton through the announcer's table. But then Rollins and so Reigns and Ambrose were kind of happy for a bit, and then they stopped. But then Rollins seemed really happy. He was like, "Yeah, fuck you!" Triple powerbomb. He was throwing stuff everywhere. He was going mad. He seemed to be the most happy. And then afterwards, he kind of realized, "Wait a minute, I'm the only one still celebrating." Oh shit!
Yeah.
And like I said, Rollins has the best "oh fuck" face in wrestling. It's just like, oh shit, that sort of thing when he realizes that
It's just like, yeah, let's fists in. Why aren't you putting your fists in?
Why are you not smiling? Oh, okay. And that moment has been memed to shit. So
Already, yeah.
which I'm glad to, because it was a really fun moment. And
This is one thing I love. It's like with the whole thing. It pretty much was. Where it sort of ended up being like a 4-on-3, because obviously, what a shock! J&J got involved.
yeah,
And obviously Kane showed his true colours and it's like, oh, he's helping Rollins.
yeah,
What a shock.
yeah.
But it was just that bit. It was just like, oh, Kane's getting involved. Let's just stick him on this table.
I thought it was quite funny is that when they powerbombed Orton, that was okay. But when you've got Rollins powerbombing Kane, I said before when we were at Raw, Kane is he's sometimes subtly hench. He's a big guy, right? And when he's got up there for the powerbomb of Kane just looks like he's dwarfing Rollins. Like, he just doesn't belong being in that position at all, which he doesn't, to be honest, because, it's very rare you're going to see Kane powerbombed ever, but yeah, it was a cool moment. They failed to break through the table the first time. The crowd chanted one more time, and being as WWE should do, give the fans what they want, they did it again, and they did it through the table, which is exactly what they should do. And then
It's like the bit after that was just great, because then it's just like, it was just Reigns and Ambrose. They're just like, cool, now we can just finish it. And it's like with like Reigns, it's sort of like loser buys the beers sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just like, just reminding the fact sort of like, out of the Shield, it's like they're the two proper comrades in it.
Yeah, they've always portrayed themselves in that fashion. I do like that touch. Throughout all of this, it's been like, yeah, we're going for the belt, but you and me, we've never, like, Ambrose and Reigns have never, ever put a foot wrong against each other. So they've always been brothers all the way through this and stuff
That's
like
it.
this. So, yeah, I like that touch. And, and having those two fight against each other was great. There was a lot to like about this match. This match was lots of fun. And that's exactly what a main event should be for any wrestling fan. It should be a ball to watch, and this really was. It reminded me a lot, funny enough, with the Shield spot. It had a sort of element that those Shield matches had back then, which was, for win, loss, or draw, it's going to be a really fun match.
Yeah,
And,
it was just going to get crazy.
Yeah. And this match had lots of elements of that. However, Rollins then, with everything going crazy, manages to get back into it. He hits the pedigree, which I guess will be his new finisher.
The worst looking pedigree.
Yeah, he hasn't really got that set up yet, but still. He hits the pedigree. He does win the match. And, he needs to finish. He needs to sort out that finisher conundrum that he's got himself into. And if he is going to use the pedigree going forward, then he needs to start using it in a lot of matches to set it as his finisher at the moment.
Yeah.
Along those lines. But yeah, he walks out champion, as we all knew was going to happen. And there was a brief moment where I thought maybe, just maybe, they were going to give Ambrose the belt, maybe until Elimination Chamber where Rollins could get it back, because I do firmly believe Rollins will be wrestling Lesnar at SummerSlam, but how he gets there might change. But that wasn't the case. He does walk out with the belt. Triple H comes out as well. He kind of congratulates him, and that's how the show ends. In what was
That's
a really
it.
fun main event. So I'll pose the question to you there. I'm pretty much going to ask you now. You know which two matches I'm asking. Which is the better match, the main event or the tag team title match?
Main event.
I'm going with main event as well.
Tag team was a better. I think it was probably a better wrestling match.
Yeah.
But just the main event was, as you said, was just so fun.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch. It was a very entertaining match.
And there were just so many great spots.
Yeah.
Just like, it was just gold.
And one of the things that was different between that and the John Cena Rusev match is that they did a spot and then they would, sometimes they might play to the crowd. But it wasn't as if they were like waiting then for the referee to go over and say, "Do you quit?" and then wait there for 5 seconds until the guy turns and he's panting and goes,
Yeah, it was a guy
"No."
who rolls around on the floor just going,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it stayed at a good pace all the way through, and that obviously helped the match.
Yeah.
I think that's a good enough example when you look at the Cena Rusev match and then you look at the main event. Yeah, there's more guys involved in the main event, but I hope people can understand what I'm saying here. I just think that the I Quit match and the way they keep asking over and over again, "Do you quit?" At the very beginning of the match, after like very little has happened at all, I think it just breaks up a huge portion of the flow of the
Especially
match.
considering like Rusev asked him to ask Cena, does he want to quit now? It's like, match hasn't even begun.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? All those lines, but,
Like, you haven't even laid a single hand on him. Do you want to quit?
no,
No.
because he's going to beat you again. Do you not realise that? He's still on those lines. However, what I will say though, Matt, and what you alluded to at the beginning of the episode, the beginning of the review, the card for this wasn't so bad, but it wasn't alarmingly good. But however, it was a good show, a very good show. I would say it was quite solid. There were a few matches that didn't work for me just as good as I hoped they would, but this pay-per-view had 2 very world-class matches. So when you look at that point of view, that's okay. That's all right. I think we don't do it out of 10 for a good reason. We do it, should you watch it or shouldn't you? Because it's much easier. You should definitely watch this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
If not, just for those... Well, I mean, I'd say even the opening match is well worth a watch as well. I thought that was an excellent opener. So, you've got at the very least 3 very entertaining matches on this show.
Yeah.
So, how often have we been able to...
I mean, to be fair, like, even though we didn't like how the Barrett Neville match turned out, it's always good watching Neville wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least he had his spots. You know, he did the Red Arrow, and everyone got to see the Red Arrow. So, I mean... There was a few things that I didn't like, but all in all, I thought the show was good. The main drawback being is that it was too predictable. A lot of these matches were very easily called along those lines. Like I said, when me and Matt came up with the predictions, it didn't take us that long to come up with the predictions. Things just slotted into place very easily.
Yeah. Who's it going to be? Well, obvious who it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I will say is props to it is that for one moment, a very brief moment, they did have me wondering in the main event, are they going to give Ambrose his belt for at least a month, maybe 2 months?
Yeah.
So the fact they managed to do that in the main event, that's good. You know, it made me have so double guess. But none of the other matches I had any of that. So that is a drawback. It is one of the better pay-per-views of the year. And I wouldn't have thought that going in, to be honest. It's... I mean,
it was definitely what was that whole thing? It was just sort of like you look at it and just like, yeah.
When you look at it though, it challenges for being maybe the best non-Brock Lesnar pay-per-view of the year. So there is something to be said of that. Because you look at the pay-per-views this year, you've got Royal Rumble, which I thought was a fucking disaster. If you look at that Royal Rumble, to be honest. With the whole Roman Reigns winning it and thing. Fastlane was Fastlane. It was okay, but it was nothing spectacular. WrestleMania was great this year. Was awesome. I thought it was just as good as WrestleMania 30. And then you had Extreme Rules, which I thought was not very good at all. And then you've got Payback, and I thought Payback was okay. I thought Payback was definitely worth a watch. So yeah, in terms of that, it's not doing too bad on the list. If you look at that from that point of view. So. Anything else that you want to say about the pay-per-view?
No, I can't really think of anything.
Or are we out of here? Are we out of here for this episode?
I think we are.
We are out of here. Yeah. So thank you guys for listening to this episode, watching us ramble about the pay-per-view, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. It was a lot better than it had any right to be. The one thing I will say, a little bit of a spoiler, is that one of the common themes of this year so far is that the cards for the pay-per-views have not been very good going in. Haven't been that exciting. For Elimination Chamber...
Oh, there was one thing, actually.
Go on.
It's just because I had a quick peek through, because I know I tweeted about something, where I was just sort of like, in the I Quit match... Did you not notice your winner by submission?
That was a bit odd, wasn't it?
Can you win by submission in an I Quit match?
It's an I Quit. You know? Oh, technically, they are submitting. I don't know. It's pedantics, isn't it? At the end of the day.
You're just being picky.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to what I was saying is that the Elimination Chamber card is probably looking like one of the best cards they've done in a long while.
Oh, I look forward to it.
It looks very, very good. It looks like it will be something I'll be very interested in watching. I know me and Matt said, we probably won't do a review for Elimination Chamber, but with the card viewing up, we may change.
What's the word for it, Tony? What could it possibly be?
What do you mean?
Could it possibly
yeah, it could be a humdinger of a show. That's it. It looks like it's a humdinger of a card. Damn right. So this pay-per-view wasn't a humdinger. It was very, very good, but it wasn't a humdinger, because a humdinger is an important thing. But we'll certainly see if Elimination Chamber can live up to that. But apart from that, if you want to follow us on Twitter, what can you do, Matt?
Ooh, you can always just go to @TalkWrestlePod.
You can go to @TalkWrestlePod. It's like you know that off your head. It's amazing. It's great. Yeah, you can follow us on there. If you want to ask us any questions, you still have a little bit of time to get them in for next week. And you can leave them in the comment section below. Or tweet Matt. He will bring them to my attention, of course. And apart from that, if you're new to the show, then I urge you, go listen to one of our weekly episodes. We just hit 75 episodes. There's a bit of a change going on with the channel. We will be reviewing NXT Unstoppable this weekend, I imagine in place of the report card. It kind of makes sense to do it there.
Yeah.
And we'll be giving, not match by match, but we're giving our overall thoughts on
anything in particular.
That's it. But apart from that, I hope you guys have a great week. And I hope that you did enjoy this episode. Give us your thoughts on the show as well. And yeah. Apparently, well, from the start, I've already started reviewing a little bit of Raw. Raw has got a few interesting talking bits, so it will be a very interesting episode this weekend.
It's looking that way.
It is indeed. All right, then, guys, we will catch you then at the weekend. Have a great week.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.